Hi everybody, this is my Lab 2.5, the Genetically Modified Organism Lab. I'm just going to start describing the different types of groups and the viewpoints of each one. So we have the radical environmental groups, and they're the ones that do not support GMO foods, and they believe that people should consume the more organic and non-GMO foods because the GMO foods tend to be, or are believed to be, more harmful and dangerous to the human body. We have the industrial scale farmers. These are the farmers that do support the GMO foods because they are the farmers of the GMO foods. And so they benefit from the GMO foods, and that's how they gain their income. And so they are, of course, going to support the GMO foods. Next, we have the organic farmers, and these are the farmers that just do not use any chemicals on their crops. They're the people that you go to the store and you see those organic stickers. They're more naturally based, and yeah, they tend to be more on the more expensive side, so they could hurt their own industry because they are more expensive, but then yet they do draw towards that crowd that likes to purchase the more natural, non-GMO foods. Um, then we have the agricultural biotech companies, and these are the industrial scale farmers. They go right hand in hand because they're the producers or the makers of the technology that is being used to produce the GMO foods. So they are going to support the more GMO type foods. The federal agencies such as the USDA regulates the testing that's being done on the food that we as consumers are consuming. They play a big part in determining if the food is suitable to be consumed, and so I feel like they play a big part in this GMO war that's going on because they're the ones that are kind of differentiating between the foods that we are able to eat and we're not able to eat. And then we have the retail food companies. They buy what's being sold to the consumer, and whatever is being sold more is going to be brought in more. And so I feel like when we go to the grocery store, we see more GMO type foods because they are a selling point to their market, and they bring in a big profit for them. The American consumers are us, people that go to the grocery store and buy their food. We're not very aware, I think, to what we're eating and what foods still contain GMOs and what foods don't. If, as in the videos, when they brought out all the foods, people were very shocked that those foods consumed GMOs and that they were actually consuming those foods. I feel like today it still stands where people do not really know what we're consuming, but we're eating it because it tastes good and it's convenient for us. And so, number two, what are the pros and cons of GMO foods? Some of the pros are they're, of course, cheaper. There's less pollutants and chemicals in our food. The pros are that they're cheaper and there's less pollutants because we're not using chemicals and stuff to spray the foods, and then they're more abundant of these. And so when we go to the grocery store, we're not likely to find not find something that it has GMOs in it. The cons are that we're inserting the proteins that were not there naturally, and so when we do that, it creates a bigger possibility for our bodies to have a chemical or allergic reaction because we're not really sure what we're consuming. And then also there's the antibiotic resistance problem because some foods that contain GMOs do have antibiotics in them, and so when we mix antibiotics with certain other medications, we can have certain interactions which can cause problems. There's also a worry about the foods with antibiotics because women on birth control aren't really aware that they're consuming these foods, and when a woman is on birth control and they're taking antibiotics, it lessens it lessens the effect of that birth control, and so that could be a con. And then the last one is when we're evaluating our answers, describe our views on GMO foods. I think that GMO foods, they are more convenient for us consumers, but I think if you have the funds and the means to be able to splurge and buy more towards the organic foods, I feel like it's better for you and your family. Now that I have a little one, I feel like I gravitate more towards the organic type foods, or at least the fruits and vegetables, because I just feel like I like knowing really what's going into my body more. I do feel that the GMO foods should be labeled just as the non-GMO foods. When we go to the grocery store, we do see lots of foods that are labeled non-GMO, and I feel like that's a selling point for us consumers because we know, or we always hear that GMOs are bad for us, and so when we see non-GMO, of course we're gonna grab the non-GMO food. Um, that's just what I feel. Um, and that's why I feel that way. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and this was a very fun and interesting lab. Thank you.